Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of ZGN Talks. Today, we're going to be talking about, is entrepreneurship biological or is it learned? Is it nature or is it nurture?
Now, I don't believe that entrepreneurship is for everyone. And obviously, there's a lot that you need to go through. So if you're watching this and first off, you're considering getting into business, the first thing you need to do is look at the history of your life and have you done anything that is entrepreneurial? How do you literally, when watching TV, for example, when you watch commercials, do you view them as a consumer or as a producer? When you watch commercials, do you maybe see how they structure the commercial to get you to potential buy a product or not? Same thing with internet ads, or when you're driving through the street, we see billboards. How do we literally view how companies are marketing to us? Now, that's when I think of whether someone is an entrepreneur or not, that's one of the first things that I think of, and that's how they view the rest of the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. Being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to see the world in certain different ways, not just from a consumer perspective, but from a producer perspective, from someone advertising versus being the person they're advertising to. And, I think some of this is learned, but I think some of this is biological to some extent. The way I like to tackle this question is kind of like Usain Bolt. For instance, anyone can become a really good trainer. Anyone can become a really, really good runner. If you train really, really hard, you're going to get really, really fast. Well, you may be able to, win the high school track meet or be all city or even win a state track meet. You might not be Olympic material. And the simple fact of the matter is, no matter how hard most people train, if 99.99% of people, if you train every single day as hard as Usain Bolt, the sad, simple truth is you're not going to be Usain Bolt. Because at the end of the day, he has certain gifts like bigger lungs and longer legs and height advantages that most people don't have. And I think it's kind of a good analogy for entrepreneurship. You can be a really good entrepreneur, but to get to the whole next level class like Bezos or be a trailblazer, like have a startup, you have to be slightly different. It has to be something biological in there. Now, not to say that you can't run a company. There's a lot of great people that run passion-based businesses or do better businesses. For instance, Mitch likes tennis. I like tennis. If we were to start a tennis shop, a lot of people could do that. It's based off our passion. But it requires a certain amount of biological skill, like a certain amount of biological tendencies and mixture of skill in order to get to world-class entrepreneur status.
I also wanted to include our online businesses as an example. For example, with eBay and Amazon, anyone can do it. But at the same time, I believe anyone can get it to maybe 5K profit per month. But to get it to 10K plus profit per month consistently, you do need to really start thinking entrepreneurially, because then you need to start thinking systems, outsourcing. How do you scale this? You need to come up with ways to get more capital. And that is, in a sense, when maybe your biological side of how you were born plays in. And now, maybe your family, for those watching, maybe you're thinking, no one in my family is an entrepreneur. I don't really have a history of someone running a business in my family. I didn't really have anyone who's an entrepreneur in my family. Everyone chose to go corporate. I know a lot of your family is also corporate, and our families are
or
also
in education.
Exactly. Yeah, literally, your dad works in education. So does your mom.
Yeah, mom's a kindergarten teacher.
What's funny is that both of our parents are super school focused. They don't understand what we do. None of that. So it's safe to say that our parents aren't entrepreneurial at all.
Yeah.
So why do you think that allowed us to start thinking entrepreneurially and see the success that we have achieved through our businesses?
Well, first of all, I think both of our parents are extremely smart. I mean, all of our parents are extremely smart people. I think they raised us pretty well. And, I think a large part of it, we got a lot of our intellect from our parents, but I think a lot of what it was is I think we took the drive from where they work in their industries. For instance, my mom and dad are in education. I think we kind of took that resolve and applied it to entrepreneurship. And through our whole learning experience and us growing up, we kind of started to stray more towards that. And the way I like to think of it is, the people you most look up to in high school and middle school. I mean, obviously it changed over time, but like the way I looked at it when I was in high school, I used to look up to people that used to be like company founders. And now I am one. And I think part of the way I kind of lean towards entrepreneurship is I figured out who I admired, and I was like, oh, cool, maybe I could be like someone like that one day.
Something interesting that I actually think about is, so we grew up with our parents. Our parents raised us, and even when going to school, we constantly be around adults such as teachers, professors. I remember over the summers I would go to camp. Adults would be working with me, and I would also see that these people, and I would at times overhear them about how hard their work is. Early on I realized that you need to, just the same way that we go to school 5 days a week, people need to work 5 days a week, and they don't really have that sense of freedom. And I also learned that the majority of people that go the corporate route, they constantly are thinking about money. They have a money problem because they're relying off that one stream of income. And when we started learning about business, it was kind of a no-brainer because I never enjoyed going to school. I enjoyed hanging out with my friends. Certain classes I enjoyed, such as math, I really enjoyed math, but I never woke up excited. And a lot of the adults that I'm surrounded with in my life, none of them really wake up excited to go to work and do what they get paid to do.
And I feel the exact same way, you know, from some of you guys that don't know, I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous video, but I graduated high school in 3 years and took basically my last year of high school, my junior year of high school, and my first year of college all in 1 year. And, you know, I really kind of did this because I thought, you know, college would be the answer. I'd be excited to wake up every morning. And when I got to college, I woke up after like the first couple weeks and I was sick of it already. And I think that I kind of felt the same exact way. You know, I felt like education just didn't hold my attention. And, you know, I felt like I wanted to do something where, you know, success wasn't guaranteed. And, you know, it was just really hard to do because I love the challenge. And I think that's kind of how I lean towards entrepreneurship as well. And I feel like we should also talk about, for those who don't know, like we obviously sell on Amazon. We do into the 6 figures, and we also have a consulting business. And even our consulting business, in my opinion, I think we can clearly see our clients who are more entrepreneurial versus those who aren't, and we can see their huge variability in results. For instance, we have a lot of clients that are pretty good, and you know they get pretty good results. They hit like the couple $1,000s a month profit. But then we have clients who absolutely blow it out of the water to implement their own systems and kind of take it to the next level. And we can kind of see the gap between people that are really, really entrepreneurial and people that are kind of just in it for the money, or you know those that aren't gifted.
I agree. It's something that we've gotten pretty good at, I'd say, is getting able to really read someone after a few minutes of talking with them.
Yep.
And even for clients that we work with, some of them will get in a call and they'll be like, how much money do you think I'll make in 1 to 2 months? The second they say that, I'm like, yeah, you're not entrepreneurial. Chances are this won't work out for you. But others just come in. They're like, okay, what am I going to need to do? You know, how am I going to need to apply?
It's like very methodical.
They're not really asking finance-based questions, but they're more asking what are some problems that I'll run into? How do I avoid them? And right away, you see that they're thinking from a problem-solving point of view. And instantly we're like, all right, this person has a good chance of succeeding at building a store. And I'd say 2 out of 3 times we end up being right on it. Because obviously, certain times with Amazon, there are problems that are out of their control. But for the most part, the people that we read in that sense is really spot on.
I would say we're pretty spot on 80-90% of the time, honestly. I'd say more than 2/3 of the time. But yeah, we can kind of see that in our own experience. Even when we're like working people, even if we're like working with people that also do business, we can kind of tell who has the gift and who kind of is, you know, more learned it. Like there's a huge difference you can tell. Like even in fellow Amazon sellers we know, it's like super obvious. Like a great person who I think has entrepreneurial tendencies, our friend Hakeem, who flips on eBay every weekend. Like that guy has some special entrepreneurial tendencies.
Anyone who spends a bunch of time flipping, going to the flea market, going to, I don't know, some thrift stores, going online, doing retail arbitrage, anyone who flips, I believe, is super entrepreneurial. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, they grew up, they did lemonade stands, all that. When I think back about myself, I never did any of that. But the one memory I have is in elementary school. You know, my parents were super strict about me getting junk food, you know, even buying Gatorade, snacks, and all that. They'd give me carrots, celery, all that stuff that I really disliked. And then I would end up figuring out ways to trade with other people. So I'm like, I'll give you my carrots and this soccer ball to play with if you give me your Oreos. So that's the one thing I had. But I'd say that I didn't fully actually start applying the skills that I had until mid-high school.
And you know what the funny thing about that story, middle school, about you trading snacks, all that stuff, it's actually how Mitch and I met. For you guys that don't know, we were in the kind of the same friend group. And, you know, one day I brought like some of those, you know, those good old, what do they call it? Like fruit snacks or something.
The fruit snacks.
And Mitch and I, you know, started trading it up, and, you know, next thing you know, here we are. Like 10 years, 11 years later. So that's kind of how we met each other.
Buy me that, bro. You know, rush your parents.
Yeah, bro. See, you know, I gave you a couple free gummies to hook you in, bro. The long-term LTV.
Yeah, I remember coming up to you. I was like, yo, you know, let me guess from you. You're like, no, if you give me that, I'll be friends with you. And you're like, okay.
I'm like, okay, sure, dude. Like, let's talk. I was pretty gullible as a sixth grader, dude. That's a story about how Mitch and I met.
That was a good time. And then, and then you became my neighbor. And then, But to kind of sum up, whether it's biological nature versus nurture, I'd say that it's a bit of both. But I'd also say that it leans a lot to the biological side because, for example, the way that I do things, the way that I talk, present myself, or approach certain tasks when it comes to problem solving, I see a huge resemblance in it from a combination of both my mom and dad. And I believe, anyone can really learn a skill, but how you choose to perceive the world and how you go upon actually solving problems, a lot of that is biological.
Yeah. And, same way we mentioned this in previous videos, I'm the back end of the business, bitch more the front end. He handles sales, marketing, a little bit of ops. I handle ops, finance, projection, stuff like that. I figure out like what will work, what won't work. I run all the numbers. He does all the front end work. He brings in revenue, stuff like that. And, I think that really kind of speaks to our problem solving ability as well. Mitch goes more based off, he gets impressed by marketing, tries to figure out why someone does something compared to something else. For instance, why is this ad here? Why isn't it here? And, we had I sent you this funny thing before. We were talking about how stupid this was. There was a dog walking ad on like some uni bus or something, like inside like some, what was it called? Like a public transportation thing. So I went to go to a dentist appointment a couple weeks ago. And like I took the sub because it was way faster.
Yeah.
So, I noticed there was like some dog walking app on the side. And I was like, why are they advertising a dog walking app if it's in public transportation where dogs aren't allowed? Doesn't make any sense. And then I sent to you and you like went like super in depth about it. But that's kind of your more problem solving ability. And mine's more of an analytical standpoint. Like I like diving in company finances, I've been to stocks and all that stuff. I think that kind of speaks to who we are.
He is the reason that we travel for free.
Yeah,
This guy's the reason.
True.
This guy, dude, you will literally sit at your computer for 3 straight hours locked in a room just typing like, Mitch, I got it. Yeah, call me right now. It's genius. Call you up. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah. So as you can see, I think biologically, I think what most of the time determines if you're gifted is your ability to problem solve and how you look at the world. And, I'm analytical. He's more front end and like wonder why stuff is how it is. Yeah, it compensates. And like we've met each other's parents and it makes sense. It does make sense. It's like it's like a perfect exact representation. Like I'm kind of like we're each kind of take after. I think I would love to see a study on this. You're very similar to your dad. I'm more similar to my dad. I think it's really kind of cool. Yeah. Like your dad's like a chit chat guy. He loves making everyone laugh. My dad's very analytical. And then my mom, she's like super patient, problem solver, likes to really analyze. So that's where I get that side from. So I kind of see where it evens out in that sense. And it's a perfect compensation in skills. Yeah, guys. If you're going to pursue a business, you want a business partner, do not get someone that's good at the exact same thing that you are good at because you guys will fail. And I'll bet you a lot of money that you'll fail. I bet a lot of money on that. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up our video, guys. Go ahead and hit the like button. It helps the algorithm a lot, helps push out the video. Go ahead and comment what you thought about the video. If we're wrong, let us know, guys. Flame us all you want. Oh, yeah, do all that. Yeah, go ahead and hit us up on Instagram. We love networking and communicating with you guys. And yeah, hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video. Adios.